we're falling away. Maybe I just need to feel nothing to make it easier to turn away, leave. Maybe we're fan and flame, so why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away, yeah. I don't wanna crash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away.
Here in Monza, and it is a race opening victory for Eve. I'm still battling with Kuba.
You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel and white. I'll be close if you come. I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voice as I guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you
But he's gone wide! Speedy's going incredible!
Take it, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. So quiet, try to hide it. If a new thought formed, we would swallow it down. Empty stares, never question the illusion. If you play alone, they will leave you to drown. Stand up, 'cause we are the movement. Don't stop, straight into the dark. Wake up, 'cause this is the moment, and every fire starts with a spark. A revolution. Stand up, 'cause we are the movement. Don't stop, straight into the dark. Wake up, 'cause this is the moment, and every fire starts with a spark. A revolution.
Feel like we're falling away. Maybe I just need to feel nothing.
Hello, and welcome back to FRLT season number 6, and it is time for assists this week. Once again, we return, and it is time for round number 4 of the season, as you can see down below in the title. Of course, it is time for round number 4, and it is at the track of Silverstone for this week. As you can see, 5.891 kilometers, 3.660 miles, 18 turns, 2 DRS zones down the Wellington Straight and down the Hangar Straight. the calendar, we've gone through China, Austria, Imola, and this week we go to Great Britain before next week the final race, the final two races of 2025 at Australia. So there's a lot to come, there's a lot to happen. We're currently waiting on a few drivers because a few people have decided it'd be funny not to join. Really funny. There we go. Everybody. I think we're just waiting on the AZRs. I do believe we're just waiting on an AZR and an Ace driver. I believe both the Ace drivers are in. Okay, so yeah, almost everyone's in. Almost everyone is in now. I think we're just waiting on one Ace car. But yeah, we are back once again tonight. So let's have one look at the standings. As you can see, it is looking quite interesting, actually, in the standings. Currently, EVR lead the championship on 73 points. Another podium last week proves to be another strong result for them, and actually extending their championship lead even further. It was originally 22 points. Then LR got a penalty removed for, I believe it was for their driver of Jerry Weiss. He got his penalty removed, and so he went back up to P8, so they gained a lovely 3 extra points. So they got back up to 54 points, 19 points behind EVR. SCT had a very strong and consistent day. Actually pulled themselves up the order from 5th in the Constructors' from 6th in the Constructors' Championship, all the way back up to 3rd. So they're pushing incredibly hard for the championship. Currently, they still sit, though, an incredible 31 points away from EVR and the championship leaders after just 3 races. AERT with a very tough week last week, dropping them down to 4th. SKG as well, following in a very similar route, only 3 points scored for themselves. OMB as well, not having the best, but actually pulling themselves closer to the top 5 in the Constructors. Now in a solid fight for at least 4th. This week, up to all the way, they could even find themselves up to 2nd at best. So it is currently very close. It was a good week for AZR in one way, that they got their first win of the season, and their win drought finally came to an end after many seasons. But at the same time, they also suffered a retirement and pulled themselves up to 19 points in the championship and up into 7th in the Constructors' Championship. UFRT as well took some good points. They took a good, solid 5 points in last race, pulling themselves above 10 points this season. TMS without any points and a tough race. Ace, double DNF for them as well. Continued struggles for themselves. So up and down. Struggles for some teams, better for other teams. Struggles for some, bad performances for others. It's always one of those tough ones where you're never too sure. So, we will be waiting and watching to see what happens tonight. Of course, tonight is an important. It's not just an important race. It's going to be a season-defining race, I'd say, because there are a few reasons for that. I've had questions about this from others in the past, but the reason why this is going to be a season-defining race is because it's round 4. I always say the opening 3 races is when everyone's just trying to figure out where they are in the grid. Round 4 is when it starts to heat up a bit, where the racing really does get a bit more serious. Especially now, EVR, they've taken a 19-point lead in the Constructors' Championship. That's a big lead. That's a win and a pole, or win fast lap, or P1 and P13. So, it's a big order, 19 points just after 3 races is not a great showing for LR. A bit of weakness last race exploited by the championship leaders. But it's quite close at the moment. Definitely from front to back of the grid, it is quite close. I mean, we even saw teams like UFRT get in there. We saw AZR get in there for some points. AERT out of place. LR a bit out of place as well. So, but I have to say, I don't want to sound mean here, but Jerry Rice, back-to-back weeks of penalties for the LR driver. He's back again this week, but maybe a slight weakness at the moment at LR. Maybe they're just seeing a bit of a weakness right now when it comes down to that. But we have finally reached qualifying this evening. If the screen decides to load at any point, and there we go, it finally does. But yeah, it's a very interesting one because, we've got 19 drivers in. We're just missing one of the ace drivers, but in the Red Bull. But essentially, LR need a big race. They need to, I'd say, minimum closing the championship by 5 points tonight. Jerry Rice is actually going to be the first driver out on track as well this evening. So, quite interesting to see. Of course, it's Great Britain. Everybody loves a bit of Great Britain. But I've got to say, when you look at it, LR need to be scoring these. They need to at least close up the gap by 5 points. Bring it from 19 points. Luckily, the penalty removal, the 3 seconds time penalty removal last week allowed them to move up and get 3 points closer. So that really did help them when it came down to bringing the gap from 22 points down to 19. But I'd say this week they need to, at minimum, bring it to 14, down to sort of, I'd say 14 points this week. Get within that 15-point range. I'd say minimum 4 points closer, but get within those 15 points range, or EVR might just start to sprint it in Championship. Hasho and Soaface are in the EVR cars tonight. Jerry Vice and LK return once again, and LR are actually the first two out on track. As you can see, actually both of them in the same picture as well. But I've got to say, Jerry Vice has to start to not exactly pull his weight, but he's got to start to push a little bit more and not make so many mistakes, because at the moment LK has been very much the driver picking up most of the points for LR this season now. So it's gonna be an interesting one. So heading round coming up to the final chicane, I should really say, heading round Stowe Corner. Jerry Vice making his way to start off his lap, and the first lap here in Silverstone of the season. And as he goes, we're going to ride on board with him. Now heading towards turn 1, throwing the car through. It's flat out in these cars. It used to be a bit of a tricky corner, no longer. Now down into Village through turn 3. Now throwing it into turn 4. And getting through Village, pretty nice from Jerry Vice. A little bit of wheel spin there, and through turn 5 he goes. Now on to the Wellington Straight with that DRS for the first time in his lap. Now heading through the left-hander. Now into Luffield. Got to get these two corners right. Turn 6 and 7 could be quite nasty. Coming up now through turn 8. Coming up to Copse, the fastest corner on the entire track, turn number 9. And getting that corner sealed, and he does it incredibly well now. Coming up towards Maggots and Beckett's. I think, personally, this is the hardest section on the entire track to master. And Jerry Vice, I've got to say, very strong in that McLaren. No problems with Maggots and Beckett's at all. That McLaren just slicing through each corner with ease. Heading towards Stowe Corner once again, on the brakes, throwing the car in, and that car just looks stuck to the ground this evening. It really does. On this first lap, no problems. We've only saw a slight bit of sliding, but outside of that, the grip is immense. And up to the line, it's going to be a 1 minute 25.539 to start off tonight's qualifying. And that's the first lap of the evening. Got LK, who's who's actually, I think, going slightly slower than his teammate. He's gone a lot slower. He's backed off in the end. He's going to come across the line in second. Then we're looking for the next driver. That is Small Connor. Then it's going to be Levi. Then it's going to be Maxim. Then that's Yannis Maybohm, who's also had a rather slow run for himself. So not a really fast run there. Pascal Gill invalidated his lap, so he's ultimately lost that, as just ALE goes into a 1 minute 26.257. And Marco immediately takes that time just by a very little bit. AERT find themselves P1 only by about 0.04 of a second, but it's still P1. Straight away, Matt T into P3. Louis Drager, he goes into P1 now, 25.227. Will we see the 1 minute 24s come from these drivers? I very much believe we will at some point. We will see the 25. Speedy Crane beats his teammate 25.6, but he's quite far away in the end, so it's not what he needed. We've got LK who's coming around again. He's improving a lot, but he's going to have a Haas in front of him when it comes down to the final two corners. So he's going to be getting a bit of dirty air. That's going to lose him a little bit of time through these final two corners. And coming up to the line, will LK beat the current provisional pole? No, he won't. It's a 25.7 from LK. He's 2/10 down off of his teammate. That's really not what he needed. Small Connor crosses the line in P9. Not a bad lap. Levi only comes across the line in P8. And we just saw somebody jump up the order. That's Maxim, who's actually jumped up to P2 to a 25.3. So very strong from himself. Indian Goat comes across the line in P3 as well. He's done a 25.3. His teammate in TMS, what will he do? He won't do anything close to 26.4. So he's far away from that lap time at the moment. Only clips on a lap, but he's invalidated anyway. But Louis Drager, fastest of all out of the first run. But I've got to say, it's incredibly close. Again, EVR, 4th and 6th off for that start. That's kind of what they were looking for. LR looking a bit off for the pace, though. I'm not being mean here at all. I'm not, just pointing it out. But they're looking a bit off for the pace. Jerry Weiss right up close to both EVRs, but it's LK who just sits this sort of 2-3 tenths away from his teammate. And that's a big gap. He did lose time in the final corner. I think that's definitely going to be maybe a 10th in it. But still, even then, he's got a bit of a chunk of time to catch if he wants to actually get into a decent position. Surprising, though, from Maxim to get P2. OMB maybe coming back into this championship a little bit more. Maybe coming back into it, maybe looking at a chance. Same with Indian Goat. TMS looking very fast here in Silverstone. It's a track where everybody's going to be very close. I mean, 12 drivers have all made it into the 1 minute 25s. Only 3 haven't. 4 yet to set a lap. So it's an interesting start for some. But we've already got a car coming out onto the track, and that's Pascal Gill, who's on his way out onto the track. He's been quite strong this season occasionally, and the cameras decided not to work for a second there. But Pascal Gill in that green, that British Racing green Aston Martin. I have to say, OMB needs something to change here. 33 points in the championship. If they can just claim 5 points over AERT and over SKG, they will ultimately move up 2 places. They'll move up into 4th in the Constructors' Championship. So it's very close margins, very, very tight margins at the moment, championship-wise, because so far, Maxim putting it ahead of AERT is something that OMB needed. But at the same time, LR also struggling a bit. 3 points would come from LK at the moment, 7. So it's only 10 points for LR out of this race as it would stand. So it's not a strong weekend again. 19 though from EVR, so another 9 points if it was to finish the way it looks out of the first runs. But it's clear to see, even out of the first runs, EVR maintaining consistency, but not quickest. 3 races now where they're sort of qualifying up to this point. Who knows at the end of qualifying, but their qualifying has not come out as quickest. You know, the last 2 races, they've not really been up there as in the battle for being fastest, but they've been in the battle for consistent points and podiums, but not for that win. They've been a bit further away from it. Pascal Gill on his lap now. Let's see what he can do. He's the first driver to be out on another lap. That Aston Martin looking very quick. We've seen quite a few teams mastering their setups, absolutely pulling together all their resources they can to get a really good race here. But for the moment, Pascal Gill on his way down towards the end of the first sector. Of course, he's not going to be able to fix much. He's not going to be able to do much for the moment. But I'm having to invite a driver because he's decided that his internet's just not going to work. And we'll continue to watch Pascal Gill on his way. As he makes his way down, it's going to be a 1:02 for that middle sector, so looking incredibly strong. I'm not sure whether that was a toe or not. We'll have, of course, OMB will know about toes and stuff, that it's not allowed during qualifying. Pascal Gill making his way round. You've got to be speedy all the way up to the line. Where's he going to go? He goes P5. And so joining his teammate up there in position as well. So that's a good first run from himself. Matty also improves. Brings himself up to 25.5. Jumps up to P9. So with Face has just disconnected. So a couple of connection problems going on for some. We've got Levi coming across the line. Then we got Len who crossed the line. He goes P8 behind his teammate. So very much AERT close. Jerry Weiss finds 7 thousandths of a second over Louis Drager to go into P1. LK also improved to go P10, but that's still only P10 for himself. Not great. Janus Mayboom! He finds another 10th in it to go to a 25.1. Marco finds a 25.1 as well in his lap. So, incredible there. I think we just saw just ALE cross the line. He improved by 4/10 and moves up into 15th. So he's found some time. He's been able to do something with his lap. I think we just saw Hasho improve. Louis Drager as well. Louis Drager not able to improve enough. Only 16 thousandths of a second he improves by, but he does gain 1 position from all of that. Small Connor just crossed the line as well. He went P14, so he's been able to find something. We got Maxim that's coming up to the line next. Across the line, it's slower by 66 thousandths. Not what he'd be thinking he'd be getting this evening. Indian Goat crossed the line and doesn't improve either. So a couple of drivers not improving on these middle runs. I will see whether Sir with Face is currently online or not. I think he'll be hoping, that he's online, because otherwise I can't invite him. So he is online. Game invite sent. But that is an incredible lap by Janez Mayboom. AZR looking to make it back-to-back pole positions. Another point going their way. Another point going their way, but it's the thing of, I don't want to put down AZR, but 19 points out of the first 3 races isn't bad, but it's not exactly what they need. You need to have a good average finish. You can't, it's not like how it used to be a few seasons back with the old point system, where you could just pull out a championship lead with one driver. With just one singular driver. You couldn't do that. You could do that before, you can't do that now. So, this is something that maybe they need to think about for the future, is, how they're going to sort that. I think we just saw Tommy improve on his lap as well. He went up to P16. He found a 25.7. So everybody is now in the 25s, except Alexander Esposito, who's having some game problems. So, looking at this, as you can see, only one driver out on track, everybody else in the pits. So, very quiet. Interesting to see people out on track at the moment. Very strange to see. As you can see, Tommy's actually run out of fuel. So he's crawling back to pits. But to be fair, he's actually got some decent speed behind him still. But that means everybody is in the pits. Except there is somebody already on their way out. And that is Speedy Crane, who's on his way out of the pits to start his final run with just 3 minutes and about 3 minutes and 15 seconds left on this qualifying session. It's going to be close here in Great Britain. Now, it is time to watch him. You can see he's taking his time. There's a couple more cars creep out on the track. You can now see the absolute massive queue of cars that are coming out onto the track. You can just see the list now extending out with another 3 cars coming out of the pit exit. See, the list just grows larger with the number of cars. Half the grid now out on track, and we've got another. I think that's another 5 coming out onto the track. So with Faces rejoined, so he might just have time to creep out in this session. But Speedy Crane will be the first to cross the line. We'll have to wait and see whether So with Face is actually going to be able to get across the line in time. Same for Alexander Esposito. But let's ride on board with Speedy Crane on his final lap. SKG, the reigning champions, they need something big tonight because P8 and P17, 6 points is not what they're going to be looking for out of round number 4. They need something a little bit more than the current predicted 6 points for them this race. But through Village, Speedy Crane doing quite well through there. Not a brilliant lap, not a bad one either, but not too great from himself. Now, ending off his first sector, he's actually 6 thousandths down on his lap, so definite struggles. You could just see that car's just not easy to handle. We saw SKG dominated assists last season. They were very strong last season. Did have a bit of a championship face-off towards the end of the season, but at points they looked just untouchable. But this season, down in 5th in the Constructors, way out of it, 40 points away, about 40 points away, just under that. Whoa, and that's Speedy Crane who goes off. And you can just see, just no steering. The car just had no steering at all. It just looked like it had absolutely nothing there, just sliding across. I'm even looking at the replay here. It was just sliding and sliding and sliding. There was just absolutely nothing on that car. So with Face is not going to be able to make it. There's actually a Sauber in the wall. That's Levi, who's in the wall, possibly in a bit of annoyance with himself. Clips coming up to the line next. He's down by 65 thousandths in his middle sector. Currently, Alexander Esposito and So with Face have finished their laps. Now has Speedy Crane. Can Clips improve? Does he improve? He improves by 36 thousandths and goes to P17. So that's a very small improvement. His teammate is next to cross the line. Small Connor is improving by just 23 thousandths of a second. So at the moment, it's looking pretty difficult for quite a few drivers to improve, and across the line he finds a 10th and he goes P10. He finds a lot of time in his lap. Levi is going slowly. Jannens Mayboom is going to be the next across the line. He's improving by 92 thousandths in his middle sector. Across the line, he does a 25.0. He does it. And that is a brilliant lap. Marco crosses the line. He can't improve when he does cross the line in the end. We're seeing a lot of drivers crossing the line now. Louis Drager doesn't find much time. Can Jerry Weiss do it? He goes P2! Front row from Jerry Weiss! What a lap! Hasho! Last second! 12 thousandths of a second behind! Indian Goat coming across the line. We've just seen not Marco, that was Len, who just jumped up the order. Indian Goat coming up to the line next. Can he improve? He does. He finds P6 when he crosses the line. Then we've got Tommy. He's finding small amounts of time, but that could be enough as he jumps to P15. And that is everyone. And it is Jannes Mayboom on pole once again. Back-to-back pole positions for AZR, Hasho, and Jerry Weiss. Your top three. So, going through the order of the grid, Jannes Mayboom is on pole, followed by Hasho, Jerry Weiss, then Marco, Louis Drager, Indian Goat, Maxim, Len, Speedy Crane, Matty, Pascal Gale, Small Connor, LK, Sir with Face, Tommy, Levi, Clips, Just ALE, and Alexander Esposito. And that is the qualifying order for tonight. So, an interesting qualifying order, nonetheless. Very interesting qualifying order. Okay, so we're going to be hopefully getting ready shortly. In about 3 minutes time, so drivers have some time, drivers and teams can get together, sort out their strategy for the race. I can see a lot of hard to medium and medium to hard tyres. I can see a lot of strategies like that coming together. So we'll be waiting to see whether that is true, whether I'm right or not. But realistically, it's not been great from any team, I'd say. LR came out with, I think, probably not the best of qualifying. LK down quite a bit. Jerry Weiss kind of leading the team. Leading the team in qualifying here for, I think, the first time this season he's really done it. EVR unlucky with So With Face disconnecting and having game issues, so unlucky there for them. AERT consistent qualifying finish, but it's very mixed. It's very mixed. So that's the thing that I think a lot of people are quite disagreed on in the community is the sort of the championship. How much can you close? How much can't you close? So we'll be waiting to see here tonight, because I've got to say, a brilliant poll from Jannes Mayboom again. Brilliant poll from AZR. It is an absolutely top of the class poll from AZR again. Back-to-back weeks of poll. 2 points, 10% of their points this season come from pole positions, which is just an unbelievable stat. But yeah, it's a good qualifying from AZR. Still need both drivers to be there more. Levi just not really being able to be there at all. Altogether, very mixed qualifying. Everybody's incredibly close. Everybody's within a second of each other. Even less than that, about 8-9 tenths of each other is the gap from I think it's about 8/10, just over 8/10 from first to 18th. So it's very close across the entire grid. So we'll have to wait and see. Top two though, very much on their own. Louis Drager though, dropped the ball a bit on that final run. He dropped the ball, led most of qualifying on pace, then just seemed to drop the ball a bit in that third run. Didn't really find any time. He didn't actually find any time in his run, so he actually went slower on his final run. So it was just pure chaos for SCT there. They dropped a lot. One of their drivers is having problems. The other had a bad final run. It is the way things go, but it's the same for SKG. They're also in a very bad place. They're just not able to get together any sort of pace based off qualifying. It's very similar to last race where they're just kind of sitting in this very middle area where they're not doing well, but they're not doing terrible. You know, they're not having terrible performances and stuff. So hopefully it won't be, of course, for them, they'll be hoping a better finish than just 3 points from last week. But it feels like SKG's momentum has disappeared a bit out of these first, after the first two races compared to last race of this qualifying so far. Their momentum just seems to have almost just ground to a halt. They just don't seem to have a lot of momentum. Their pace seems to be a bit weak as well in qualifying. But I can hear that we're about to get going. So here we are. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in FRLT Season 6, round number 4 of assists. And it is a great getaway from the pole sitter, Yannis Mayboom. He pulls away perfectly, cars flying absolutely everywhere. That's Pascal Gill in the background who's gone flying off the track. As you can see, 4 wide. Further back, Jerry Weiss down the inside, battling with Hasho over P2. Hasho has to move out the way, and so he drops places. You can see somebody's gone round. That's Maxim, who's had a terrible start, along with Speedy Crane. He's struggling. Same as Sir with Face. He's down to 14th, but he's gone on the hard tyres. He's gone for the longer strategy. He's gone to save his tyres. Yannis Mayboom has already pulled a second off in the lead, and you can see it is looking very intense off of this first lap. Both on the mediums. Hasho, though, not with the best of starts, dropping him down, and now dropping them behind LR on the point scoring area. Louis Drager as well, very quiet first lap. Len struggling to keep up with the top 4, but he's pulling his teammate Marco along with him as well. So they're currently looking at a brilliant 18 points. So it's going to be very interesting to see. So an interesting first lap. You can see just ALE battling with Tommy over P15. So for him, it looks like points are looking a little bit ruled out at the moment as he's starting to lose time. He's half a second behind Sir with Face. So looking for a move down the inside. He goes on Pascal Gill. He's giving a good old bit of racing around the outside. He's trying to make the move, but again, the hard tyres just don't have that performance over the mediums to get past. But he knows he's got the pace to make the move. But it's proving to be quite difficult off of this start. You can see again, look, just ALE also pushing for places. He's also trying to get past them. EVR driver. Now, that's changing because Tommy is making the move past the Williams and up into P15. So the hard tyres showing that they're on pace with the mediums. I've got to say, bad start for SKG at the moment. P16, P19, no points for the reigning champions. Currently out of round number 4, and they will currently drop back. They will drop down. They will drop all the way down to 7th in the standings as AZR will overtake them as well. Currently, AZR will overtake them. And look at this, Sir with Face getting a bit of a miserable moment. He's really struggling on his hard tyres off of this start. I mean, he's down in 14th. He's just on the edge of the points. He's trying, but you can just see he's just struggling a bit to keep up. But it's been a good start from Yannis Mayboom on those medium tyres. He's keeping that gap above half a second. So it's proving to be a very interesting start from our pole sitter. Speedy Crane as well makes his way past Alexander Esposito for P18, but he's going to be sitting back there for a while as he sits almost 3 seconds behind 17th. So he's got a bit of a way. You could just see the gap. You could barely see that Aston Martin from this camera view. But everybody very close to each other. But it's not been a good start for one driver, and that's Indian Goat, who's actually dropped down a few places. If we look off of the race start, down 2 places. Same for Marco, who's also down 2 places. Down 10 for Maxim, back down 9 for Speedy Crane. So some drivers are really struggling tyre-wise. It's mediums for everyone except Small Connor, Clips, Sir with Face, Tommy, and then Alexander Esposito on the soft compound of tyres. So, interesting start. But I don't think anybody's particularly gotten away in the best way, except Yannis Mayboom, who's keeping a decent gap to the car behind. He seems to be quite strong on straight line speed. I've just noticed that he seems to be incredibly strong on straight line speed. Even when Jerry Weiss is pushing, you could just see the Sauber just starting to just gap the McLaren very slightly at times, especially off the exit of corners. Seems to just be really pushing ahead. See the gap starting to build slightly between all of the drivers. Still, everybody chasing along. As you can see, they all come round turn number 5 on the track. So it's an interesting start from all the drivers, but already onto lap 4 of this race. Of course, DRS activated. Everything is go, go, go. But everybody very calm. I have to say, after lap 1, everybody's come out really nicely. There, nobody's doing heavy battling. Everybody's been rather nice and very sort of calm with each other. So with Face looks like he's getting a bit more into a rhythm now with the rest of the pack. He looks, you know, that sort of first 2-3 laps, he just looked like he was struggling a bit, but he's now all over the back of Pascal Gill, who is struggling on his medium compound tyres. Opening the rear wing from the EVR driver. You can see he's trying, but I'm not sure whether it's just me or he seems really slow on the straights, but incredibly fast in the corners. So I think we know what EVR have gone for when it comes down to on-track strength, but I think so with Face is probably dropping maybe 0.3 a lap purely because he's really slow on the straights. Especially around the track, it's very bad to be slow on the straights, but you could just see down the hanger straight, he just didn't seem to have much pace at all. So, you know, there's a couple of battles everywhere, but overall, it's very quiet off of this start. I thought there'd be a lot more battling than there is, but everybody's spaced out a little bit more. First driver that's starting to struggle a bit is actually Marco's, pushing to about 0.8 of a gap. That'll be the biggest gap in this DRS train. He is sitting at that 0.8, so he is starting to lose the top 5 a bit more now. So definitely a couple of gaps starting to show. Mac T, Indian Goat as well, seeing the same ones. But I've got to say, Levi, he's really finding his strength in this pack. Up to P9, on for a very strong 5 points this evening. AZR on to take an incredible 24 points as it stands. Also with the fuzz stat, that's 25 points. Extending themselves currently up into 5th in the Constructors' Championship, which is a big jump for them, allowing them to have a chance. Sorry, 6th in the Constructors' Championship, since all the teams of OMB aren't scoring any points. So actually, it will be 5th, because OMB will continue in their 6th place, with SKG dropping down the order. Yannis Mayboom again, by the way, has just pulled that second gap in the lead. I've just noticed that he's just pulled that second once again. So definitely some strength. Speedy Crane comes into pits and drops back down to last, but definitely some strength from some teams and not so much from others. But now we're going to notice Jerry Weiss is going to start to come under pressure because he hasn't got that DRS. He's dropped just over a second behind. see it is going up quite a bit. It's gone up about 2/10 this lap already, so he is starting to lose some time. And definitely down the straights, he's losing huge chunks of time. Look at that, 1.3, almost becoming 1.4, 1.4. Holy, he is just dropping tenths down the straights. And I'm not sure whether that's because Janez Mayboom is dropping ERS. No, he's not. It just looks, Jerry Rice just looks genuinely slow down the straights. So at the moment, LR could be in some real trouble because here comes Hasho to the inside, into Stowe Corner, and before Stowe Corner, Hasho just about gets the move done for P2. And now the championship swaps round a little bit again, with EVR pulling back up into those 15 points. And still, LR will close the gap. They will still get those 4 points for 10th. So they will still get the 19 points as it stands. They will still pull a good 4 points. What they need, actually, to get to that 15-point barrier. But it's a good start to be closing in. But of course they'd like it a little bit more. But down 1 place already. And now Sir with Face is making a move on Pascal Gill. OMB coming under a bit of fire this week for struggling a little bit in this race. And they really are struggling because P13 and P17, this race hasn't gone their way at the moment, and they will drop a place in the Constructors' Championship as well. They will drop down to 7th in the Constructors, which just isn't where they need to be. But it's these teams who are just having occasional poor races, you know. It really is that at the moment. They're just having the occasional poor race, and there's just not a lot you can really do about it. You know, you could try your best, but look at this. I've just got to point out, Janez Mayboom, now over 2 seconds off in the lead. He's really starting to pull away. Here comes Jerry Weiss as well. You can just see he's absolutely using all the battery he's got. Hasho doesn't really fight it. But Louis Draeger, the man who led most of qualifying, failed on the final run to find enough time. And he's just sitting in P4. He's sat in P4 this entire race. He hasn't lost a place. He hasn't gained a place. So he's just been sitting here quietly in P4 as we go on to lap 8. Already lap 8, by the way, of the race. We're slowly approaching. And down the inside! A ballsy move from Louis Draeger on Hasho. But they're just losing time battling like this. Who's going to get the DRS? Who's going to get what? It's about a second gap to the car in front. But Louis Draeger makes the move, and he now closes back up to Jerry Weiss, and he chases P2 in this race. SET pushing for a podium this race, pushing to continue their championship charge on LR and on EVR. Of course, SET finished 3rd in the Constructors last season, but still one of their drivers is in the pits and down in 19th, so still only 15 points will be walking their way this evening. It's still going to be enough to bring them up to 57 points after tonight's race. So they will be 3rd, and they will continue to close in, but they won't be closing in on LR, nor will they really be closing in much on EVR. And now you can see Louis Draeger just seems to have a lot of pace all of a sudden in his RB. He seems to have found just a lot of pace because he's all over the back of the McLaren, while a couple of other drivers struggle a bit to keep it together. A couple of drivers having a bit of battle. That's a few drivers actually going into the pits, if I'm correct. Maxim in the pits and just ALE also into the pits this evening. What are they going to be changing their tyres to? It's an early stop from both of them, and it's going to be swapping to the hard tyres, and we're going to be seeing the same for the SKG driver, just ALE, both of them swapping to the hard tyres. But Janez Mayboom starting to get on his own in this race, 3.5 seconds in the lead of tonight's race. He's just sitting at now over 3 seconds ahead of everyone else, and it's starting to become quite commanding because you can see him up the track, but he's just gotten away so far in the last sort of 4 or 5 laps. He's gotten about 2.4 seconds off into the lead. But Jerry Weiss, once again, he wasn't under pressure. Now he's back under pressure from Louis Draeger. We'll have to wait and see. But we've got some battling going on over P16. Whoa! And off onto the gravel for Speedy Crane. Maxim battling over P16. Not even points at the moment, by the way. That isn't even any points. It's just P16. So, interesting one. Louis Drager I was going to say overtaking somebody, but he's not. It's actually Hasho going to pits. He feels like he's done going on to lap 10. So he's going to do probably about 16 laps on the hard tyres. He's going for the undercut strategy. He thinks that's going to be the strategy that works. We also saw Levi as well come into the pits. So not only him, but so far not a lot of drivers coming into the pits. 3 drivers have stopped. Add with these 2, 5 of the... Altogether, actually, 6 of the 19 drivers have stopped. Yeah, 6 of the 19 drivers have stopped in this race. So that helps a bit for them, but not a lot. Not a lot, I will say, not a lot. But now, you can see Soathface hasn't really gained a lot from that. He's still only up to P11. So it's not been the perfect race for him. He's not really finding many places. He's struggling to make many moves. Pace just is qualifying performance, you know, the unlucky disconnection, of course, really making him struggle. But again, it's just too little too late. Louis Drager as well has just dropped to over a second behind Joey Weiss for just a very short second there, but it's clear to see that Louis Drager is struggling more on his medium tyres now than he was before. And now Louis Drager guns it into the pits. And so does Len. So does Jannis Maybohm as well. So it's only Jerry Weiss. Jerry Weiss stays out, though, on his medium tyres. Whoa! And a massive kick on the rear there. He takes the lead. But that massive kick has actually just dropped him about 8 tenths to Marco. Because he was at about 3.4 seconds to Marco. He's just dropped 8 tenths in a... 3.2, so he's dropped about 8 tenths to Marco in the last one, just from that one mistake. So it's actually a massive drop in lap time. You see Jannis Maybohm, where is he going to come out? Where is Hasho going to come out, though? Maxim has just set the fastest lap of the race, and ultimately Hasho gets in front of Louis Drager. Levi as well. I thought we were going to see an attack from Levi on Louis Drager, but Louis Drager might be under attack anyway because Levi is right on the back of him for position. But in the end, I think Louis Drager has just been able to survive that attack from the Sauber, or any chance of an attack. LK is down to 16th, by the way, so LK much further behind now than where you really wanted to be. He's behind Macti, but he's also dropped behind Speedy Crane and Maxim as well. So, we're waiting to see Clips, by the way, making the move for P3 ahead of Indian Goat. Whoa! And off the track! It's a puncture! It's a puncture! Indian Goat suffers from a puncture already on lap 11! Are the mediums struggling that much? Are the mediums really struggling that much around the track that they need to... It's puncture levels now. We've just seen Jerry Weiss come in. How far is he going to drop behind the race leader, though? Because I could tell you he's very far behind, and he's going to be very far behind the rest. He's actually really far behind because he's going to come out very close. He just jumps in front of Maxim, but he's behind a bunch of other drivers. He's only done a lap or two on the hard compound. So the tyre wear isn't going to be massive for most of this race. For at least 10 laps of this race, the tyre wear won't be massively different. And there goes Hasho under attack from Louis Drager. And Hasho still battling there. Maxim has gotten past Jerry Weiss, actually. Jerry Weiss has now dropped down to P11 as well. So for for LR, this day is just getting worse for them. Down to P11 and P13. 4 points currently as it would stand. Look at Jerry Weiss. He's just trying to do anything to get past this Aston Martin. Has he suffered damage, actually, because of it? Because it feels like he suffered some damage on the McLaren. Possibly, maybe not. I'm not sure. Because he just seems a bit off. He was slicing a few moves earlier when he was further up the field. Now he's dropped down to P11. He just seems to be a bit out of it all of a sudden. I've got to say though, for the first time this season, UFRT are actually leading some laps. Speedy Crane retires and becomes our first retiree of this evening's race. Got to say, it's interesting to see Silverstone only one retirement so far in the 12 laps completed, about to go on to 13 laps completed. Only one retirement, but 12 laps done and first retirement. Two punctures for TMS in 3 races. Maybe you need to look at tyre pressures. Maybe, Newman. Maybe. Maybe you need to look at that. Maybe you need to look at that. And Jerry Weiss has had a moment! Jerry Weiss! Jerry Weiss has spun! It's all gone wrong. Front wing damage for Jerry Weiss. It's all gone wrong for the LR driver and for the LR team. Oh my god. It's all gone wrong. Oh my god. He is coming in to do... He is coming in. He is going on to fresh hard tyres and they're changing his front wing. But oh, Jerry Weiss. I don't know what to say. I actually don't know what to say as Louis Drager gets past Hasho for P6 as well. Oh my god, Jerry Weiss, LR coming under fire for small mistakes. We saw it from AERT last week. The mistakes led to massive problems. And this week, it's not AERT making the mistakes, it's LR, second in the championship. So I'm not sure how this is going to go now, if I'm being completely honest. I'm not sure who's going to go where. I honestly don't know who's going to go where now. As we see a couple of drivers pull into the pits now. I think that's only 2 drivers. That's Small Connor and Sir with Face that actually pull into the pits in tonight's race. And they've gone for that late stop, of course, on the hard tyres. They've gone later, so that's all they can do. So, bit of a tough one. Where is Sir with Face going to come out, though? I think he's going to come out in about P15. Maybe lower. Is he going to come out lower? Is he... He's going to come out in P16. He's far away from the pack, but he's on fresh mediums till the end of the race. So for Sir with Face, he's got a really good chance. He'll get past Indian Goat, I think, relatively quickly, who's on those hard tyres. I think he's going to get past the Ferrari relatively quickly and should be able to get past Small Connor as well and make his way up to P14 in tonight's race rather quickly. And then it's just chasing Pascal Gill and Just ALE, who are also struggling a bit in tonight's race. But it's looking interesting. Janis Maybohm continues to lead by 5.6 seconds now. He's just starting to just absolutely pull away from the rest of the teams. You can just see they just snake around the corner just now. Pascal Gill gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's the first time Clips has a moment. Clips! He gets a puncture! It's not just some teams, it's multiple. Multiple teams are suffering from punctures this evening as Pascal Gill makes his way past Just ALE for position. And there he goes up into P12. And that's going to be... Jerry Weiss also gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He's way off for the pack. But that's 2 more places, actually, for Sir with Face. So he will be battling for points come the end of the night. He will be battling for some points because he's far, far ahead of the drivers behind. And down the inside he goes on Indian Goat. Indian Goat giving him a battle, though. Side by side, trying with the hard tyres. Can he do it? Jerry Weiss retires. Jerry Weiss. He's done. His day is done, and I don't want to be mean about this, but Jerry Weiss proving to be the sort of slight weak link in LR at the moment. They're just not able to link up the team fully. But at the moment, they're on for 6 points this evening, and that's it. Only 6 points. Up in 8, 6 points, and that's all they're on for the moment. Absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking, I've got to say. It's unbelievable. LR. This reminds me, you know, they were voted, actually, because we had a little vote back in Season 3. LR were voted the most consistent team of Season 3. For consistency on the podium and stuff, they voted the most consistent team. Most consistent new team. Best new team, most consistent team. And that was brilliant. You know, LR really proving that they were, you know, they were there. But this season, you know, they've had a decent first 3 races, but now round 4, I don't know what it was, but I just had a bit of a feeling that something was going to go wrong for LR this race. And it really has. They're going to have their worst result of the season. 6 points. Only brings them up to 60 points at the moment in the Constructors' Championship. Puts them under threat from SET. Who of course goes up to 47. They go up to they go up to 57. So SET will now just be behind LR by just 3 points in the championship. EVR will actually continue to extend. They will actually, I think, extend their championship lead now as well. They'll extend it even further into the distance. Will they get to 100 points tonight, though? 15 points, they'll go up to 88. So with Face would need to reach P4 and fastest lap. So I don't think we're going to see that happen. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it's proving that at the moment EVR, even though this race hasn't been the best for them, still kind of king of consistency. You know, still pulling more in the championship. So with Face is disconnected from the session. Another disconnection. Oh, this is just terrible timing. This just, oh my god. It's just so painful for them. It's so painful this evening for them. Same for SKG as well. They're also having an awful evening. The reigning champions just not looking like the reigning champions at all this evening. They haven't looked like. If I'm really trying not to be mean here, but SKG haven't looked like reigning champions all season. In all of these first 4 races, they're not going to be scoring points out of the opening 4 races of the season. You know, they're just. It's so difficult to explain. You know, it's. I don't know how to explain it. You know, it's very rare, and I've never really seen it, that a team has gone from being so dominant one season. We saw it with LR, of course, between Season 3 and Season 4. But we've never seen a champion, by the way, have this bad of a start to a season. Not in a single season. Even with AMS in Season 4 and Season 3, even they didn't have this bad of a start. So the moment SKG they do actually have the record for the opening first 3 races for lowest points scored by a reigning champion the next season when they race. So at the moment, SKG looking like they're struggling a bit. Were they just a one-trick pony in this championship? Were they just a one-trick pony and they just got that championship in Season 5? Or is there going to be something bigger for future weeks in Season 6? Who knows? But at the moment, it's just not what they needed, and they're definitely, as it stands, out of title contention. You know, it's very clear they're just completely out of title contention. 1 point loss I think 3 points last week. No points set for this week. There's not a lot any teams can do. There's not a lot right now that you can really say. Let's see, can we do the nice thing of re-inviting Sir with Face if he's online. Hopefully he's back in, because at the moment he's just dropping seconds to the car in front. He's on 1.9. Oh, what an unlucky day. But I've got to say, Jannes Mayboom, from start to finish so far this race, 6.2 seconds off in the lead. It's just like he's just wandering off into the lead. We saw this last season in assists as well, I think it was, with SET winning, I think, that race, or no assists, walking off 12 seconds off into the lead. But still, 6.6 seconds, and that gap is growing corner by corner. Just an incredibly dominant day from AZR, P1 and P4, by the way. So that's going to be 30 points by the end of the evening. So they're just looking so surprisingly quick this week. You know, definitely charging. Not, I'd say, yet for the championship. I don't think going for the championship yet would be fair to say. But they're getting there. They're going to jump up to 49 points after this evening, if I stand correct. 49 points, which is a massive jump. It's the biggest point scored by any team at the moment from a single race out of the first 4 races so far. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's really a tough one. Still, Sir with Face yet to reconnect. So, bit of disappointment there for himself. So, EVR again being hit with an unlucky week. Still, though, I've got to say, still third in the still third in this race. Still another podium walking their way this season. EVR becoming one of the most decorated assists teams in FRLT now. They're really becoming a decorated team. 1 win now this season. I've got to say, though, 1 win. 1 win in so far 3 races. Only 1 win in 3. It's not the best, you know, championship leaders, but it's their consistency. Like I said, the winning thing isn't so big. It's the consistency. So like AZR at the moment are going to lead the championship for most points scored this race. They're going to be leading in most points scored this race. So who knows? And the AI has pit Sir with Face for soft tires. Oh my god, absolute pain. 7.4 seconds. Jannes Mayboom just extending another second since we saw him. Another second down the track. But Hasho, by the way, he's really found something, because Louis Drager seems to be struggling a little bit with his car, because you could just see Hasho's been able to catch up within a second. And he's in that DRS now, and he has a chance at P2, and he has his chance to keep EVR, gain EVR another 2 points. Another 2 points this evening. It's only an extra 2 points, but it's an extra 2 points EVR would like to at least cover for some of their losses. But I mean, you can't lie, 15 points this evening wouldn't be too bad for EVR to walk away with. After such sort of a long evening, up to 88 points in the championship. Their worst race of the season, but still another 15 points heading their way. 13 isn't so bad either, still 86 points. I think as it stands, SET will score 15 as it stands. So currently LR will go up to 60 points. SET will go up to 57. Currently, they'll go up to 57 points after this race, closing in on second, but still 60 points, still a 26 point gap. Yeah, still a 26 point gap. F1 SimRacing, McT getting the points in for Ace. Yes, I haven't mentioned about him all race, and I've been meaning to mention about him. Incredibly quiet race, incredibly quiet drive, but an absolutely overperforming drive. Ace yet to score points in their 2 races. Third race comes round, and they run for 7 points. They're scoring more points than LR this race, and I'm really just surprised by that. You know, I did not think we were going to see Ace score points tonight, but they have consistent, really strong qualifying. That's come over into the race as well. My only thing I've just thought of is tyre wear. We saw drivers get punctures. We've seen 2 punctures this evening already on the first set of tyres. What are we going to see on the third? Well, on the first set of tyres, we saw 2 punctures on those medium tyres. Now, going on to the hards, will they go to the end of the race without a problem? You can see Mac T actually lining up a move for P6. Surprisingly, he's actually lining up a move to get an even better, get even more points and just help themselves out. They'll still be last in the championship as TMS are P12 and P13 set to go up to P10 and P11. But they'll still be in sort of, they'll still be happy with a points finish. I really do think, I think Ace will walk away from a very competitive grid here in Silverstone to do that. I've just noticed Levi is leading this group, and he's nowhere. He's not even meant to be leading this group. In all honesty, he's up 12 places. I don't want to take away from Janez Maybome's drive, especially with just 3 laps to go. But I've got to say, Levi, 12 places. Yeah, I think. Or in all honesty, everybody should respect that drive. 12 places found in this race in such a highly competitive grid is so rare to see. At all levels, especially when drivers are this close. LK having a battle over some positions. And LK still having to defend from Marco, who's all over the back of him. LR just falling apart this race. They're just falling short of what they really needed. You could just see LK's trying everything he can, but he's under some attack from the 2 cars behind. But mainly from Marco, who he will lose P8 to if he drops behind him. But for Pascal Gill, it won't be so bad. So it's looking interesting. It's looking very interesting. Yes, AZR cooking. Maxim was P17 yes, as well. Yes, Maxim was P17 on lap 1. It is, some teams and drivers are just really showing a brilliant day. But I've got to say, Janez Maybome, 9 seconds in the lead. 9 seconds, and there goes Small Connor, who's having a battle with Tommy. Whoa, a bit of tyre contact there between the 2, side by side. Tyre locking all the way through. Now, through the final corner, ultimately, Tommy gets the place, and up to P11 he goes. But I still don't know how to explain a 9.5 second lead. For back-to-back seasons, we've seen a driver win by a margin so ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Janez Maybome, 9.5 seconds. Pascal Gill, by the way, now getting past Marco as well for position, but Pascal Gill has that penalty anyway, so it's not going to help him out at all. LK, though, pressuring Mac T into Cops. I was trying to think of it, into Cops, but unable to make the move just yet. Still waiting for that move. He's got to wait as long as he needs to, but he's going to start to push very soon. But so is Macti. He's also pushing to stay up in his position, but you can see LK not close enough this time. But remember, every single corner that goes by is just time lost. And Janez Maybome, by the way, leads by 10 seconds and has now found himself onto the final lap of tonight's race. One final lap for Yanez Maybohm to complete. And a drive of absolute brilliance from the AZR driver. Louis Draeger still has a bit of a battle with Hasho. Can he pull away? Can he do what's needed? 8/10 is the gap. We're going to be looking around. Len has sent a move on Levi for position. Len battling his way up into P4. It's a move he needed to make. LK as well getting past MacT. And that is a move that LK needed at the end of this race. But he's still got that Red Bull all over the back of him. Can he hold on to it? We can also see Marco also trying to do something about his battle with Pascal Gill. And that is looking very interesting at the moment. But we've got to look to this battle. P2 and P3. They are battling for the podium here. They're battling for these final places. Who will finish P2? Who will finish P3? I know Yanez Maybohm is far up the pack and about to come to the final corner. But we should be able to see a move. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? No, it's not. Hasho backs out. But coming round the final corner, Yanez Maybohm wins in FRLT in Great Britain in assists. Round number 4 of Season 6. And it was a brilliant victory from Yanez Maybohm. Louis Draeger crosses the line in second. Hasho very close behind. Len crosses the line next. And oh my god. Oh my god. The crashes everywhere. Levi finishes 5th. Maxim in 6th. LK in 7th. MacT just lost out on 7th and finishes 8th. Marco 9th. Tommy in 10th. Pascal Gill was able to hold on to 11th though. Clips in 12th. Indian Goat in 13th. Then Small Connor in 14th. In 15th. Just ALE crosses the line. And that is everyone for this evening. And what a finish it is. So, at the end of the race, this is the way it has gone. As you can see, it is Yanez Maybohm who wins, followed by Louis Draeger, Hasho, Len, Levi, Maxim, LK, MacT, Marco, Tommy, Pascal Gill, Clips, Indian Goat, Small Connor, Just ALE, So With Face, and our retirements being Alexander Esposito, Jerry Weiss, and Speedy Crane. And that is that for this evening. That's the way it has gone. And that's everything done. It's just unbelievable. So, I haven't got many words for it. It was just such an incredible race from start to finish. It was absolutely top class from everybody. I think very strong from a lot of drivers. I think it was very impressive from a lot of drivers. Very, very impressive, I've got to say. We do have some lovely interviews this evening. So, we didn't get to do them last week because I did ask. Nobody wanted to do them last week, which made me very sad. I was actually quite sad that nobody wanted to do interviews. But before we do the interviews, I will do my lovely driver of the day. My driver of the day has got to go to Levi. There's just no way I can give it to anyone else. Levi, driver of the day. Let's drag in Daniel into the interviews. Hello, Daniel. Welcome to
Hello.
the interviews. Very impressive performance by your team today. What do you have to say about it?
I mean, it's been coming a long time. I think it's like our third season in FRLT, and finally we started to get some results. It's now a back-to-back win for Jannes, and good recovery as well from Levi. So yeah, pretty happy. I hope we can try something in the standings this season. So looking exciting.
It's your guys' fourth season, actually.
Oh, fourth, jeez.
Another win, back-to-back wins. Great to see. How was the competition out there? Have you seen much from your drivers about how the competition was?
I mean, I haven't been looking at the race the whole time, but from what I saw is, I think Levi went from P16 to P9 in like lap 1. And then in lap 5, I think Jannes got the 1.5 second gap, and then he just drove off. And I think with the strategy, Levi went to P5 at the end. But apart from that, I haven't seen anything bad or driving style. I don't know.
When it comes down to it, do you feel like there's a championship chance? Or do you feel like you're currently just focusing on just getting the best performance you can?
I don't know if there's a prize pool for this.
There is.
Do you know? To what position? See?
P1 to P3.
Okay. I think P1 is far gone first. They are on 73 points and we are on 19 at the moment. I think P3 is achievable if we keep doing this every race. But I think P1 might be too far.
I do agree with you to some degree. I think when you look at it, even if you were to win the next 3 races and have the same performance, only then would you actually get in front of EVR. So you would need to keep replicating these race finishes, which of course in a grid where it's a different track every week and where each team brings different drivers, it's very difficult to do that. I still think it's incredibly impressive what you guys have done in the past 2 races, you know, to now move up into, because I think from my count, you guys are 5th in the championship now.
7.
Yeah. So a big jump. But top scoring team, by the way, of this evening as well. First time ever you've actually been the top scoring team. I do have these stats to hand.
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah. So a rather interesting one, I think, race-wise. But when it comes down to it, what are your sort of plans? What are your hopes for the rest of the season?
I mean, I hope Jannes is available every week because he's doing really good. And also the last 2 weeks where he won, it was all on his own. So, all on his own. Also, his teammate was just behind, but gotta give credits to him. But I think if we can keep this forward and see what we can achieve from there.
Ultimately, thank you for joining me in for an interview, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you, man.
So, with that is tonight's race over and done with. And with that, my driver of the day goes to Levi from AZR. So, with that is all done and finished. And I've got to say, one of the most interesting races I've ever seen. I think it was much more strategy-based compared to what we've seen in previous seasons. But in the end, still an absolutely incredible race. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely brilliant week. We'll be back again on Saturday for Great Britain. This time for no assists. We'll take one last look at the calendar because guess what? This is the second to last race of the season, penultimate race of the 2025 of the year 2025. Next week will be the final race of the year in Australia, where we end off before the Christmas break from the 10th to then we'll be back on the 7th. Yes, we've got a long 4 weeks. We do actually have 4 weeks without any racing. So we've got a long way to go, which I know some people are disagreeing with it. They don't like the 4 weeks away, but we'll be back again after 4 weeks, so you guys have got a bit of a wait, but we will be back. Then we'll be going to Singapore in the new year, followed by Monza, Brazil, Netherlands, Las Vegas, and Japan. But with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and to subscribe. Also, click on that notification bell to know about all the content we do from shorts, streams, and videos. Also, big thanks to our affiliates, Motorsport Connect and VRE. And with that, I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Feel like we're falling away. Maybe I just need to feel nothing to make it easier to turn away and leave. Maybe we're fanning the flame, so why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away, yeah. I don't wanna crash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away.
Here in Monza, and it is a race opening victory for Eve. And still battling with Kuba.
You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come. I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices, I'll guide you. Give yourself all, but yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a
But he's
hard
gone wide!
night,
Speed,
baby.
he's going
Hang on till you
incredible!
take a chance and win, alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. So quiet, try to hide it. If a new thought formed, we would swallow it down. Empty stares, never question the illusion. If you play alone, they will leave you to drown. Stand up, 'cause we are the